Joanne and Hannah, thank you for being here today. I know mediation may not be easy, but it can often make the situation better. I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Anna.
Hello, I will be assisting and working with you both during mediation today. I understand we are here to discuss the topic of Hannah's kids. After talking with Janelle prior to today, it's my understanding that each of you feel very different about the children spending the night at Joanne's house. We are here to learn how each of you sees the situation. I hope I can help during this mediation working with you too, and that we can leave today with a resolution. Also, I want everybody here to be aware that everything discussed in today's mediation will be confidential.
To start, you will each have a turn to talk about your own perspective and how it is affecting you. Please listen for anything that the other person says that's new to you. Please hold your questions and responses until later. That way, each of you will have a chance to explain your viewpoint. Go ahead and make notes if you want to. Let's try not to accuse each other, but instead just express our concerns. Would you please also tell us what you're hoping to get out of mediation today? Joanne, would you like to start about telling us your viewpoint?
Sure. So thank you for allowing me to be here to express my concerns. I just want to say that I'm baffled at the fact that you will not let your children spend the night over with you. I feel as if you don't trust me with your children, and you're trying to separate my son and I and me from my grandchildren. I've never seen any of my friends not be allowed to keep their grandchildren, and I feel very left out, especially when they're constantly telling me of how their weekend was with their own grandchildren, and I have to say mine was spent alone. When I was growing up, we used to spend weekends, weeks, and sometimes even summers over at a grandparent's house, and we loved it. I was a mother too, you know. I know that you've got to want a break from the kids at some point. Your husband spent so much time with his grandparents, and I think it helped him be closer with them in the long run. I don't want to miss out on the bonding time I could be having with them either. I don't feel that I'm asking for much. I would just like to be as much a part of my grandchildren's lives as possible.
Thank you for sharing that, Joanne. I understand you're feeling that all this time you are missing from your grandchildren will affect your relationship with them in the future. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's all.
Okay then, Hannah, will you please tell about the situation from your viewpoint?
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. When I was growing up, I spent every day with my mother. I learned, grew, laughed, and loved with her and from her. My mother and I are very close because of it, and I still know that I can go to my mother for anything. She raised me and didn't spend hours complaining about needing a break. She made me feel loved and as if she wanted to be a part of every up and down I had, and she was. I want the same with my children. I chose to have children so that I could raise them and so that I could share the bond with them, not so someone else could. I want to make sure there is no more disrespect being shown and given. I feel that my husband and I have the right to make decisions that we find best for our children, not someone else.
Thank you for sharing that, Hannah. From your point of view, you do not see denying your children a sleepover with your mother-in-law as a form of punishment towards her. You're simply mimicking your childhood. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yes, exactly. This is my point. Joanne doesn't respect me as her son's wife, the mother of her grandchildren, or as a person. She doesn't respect her son's wishes, obviously, since he agrees with me given his relationship with his parents, and while we agree it is a strain on our marriage since he agrees that the kids should be with us. Yet he has to endlessly defend our decisions to his mother. She needs to respect our parenting ways and get the time with her grandchildren that we allow, because right now she is wasting time she could have fighting us.
Thank you, Hannah. Now that you have heard Hannah's concerns, would you like to respond to that, Joanne?
Well, sorry, but I don't think I'm being rude or inconsiderate at all. I do respect you. What I think is completely unfair is that maybe you're not considering is that you spend way more time with your mother and see her every single weekend. I barely ever get to see them. My son is obviously only siding with you just to please his wife, and all I've ever asked for is just some quality time alone with my grandchildren. I don't even feel like I'm a grandparent. I'm afraid they're not going to know I love them.
It sounds like Joanne feels very left out and is afraid her grandchildren won't love her or have good memories of her. She would like more time with her grandchildren to bond in hopes that they can stay with her. Hannah, as a mother, you feel like this is now your turn to raise your children, and you don't want your kids to think that you sent them away because you want a break for them. It also sounds like you feel uncomfortable with your kids spending the night with anybody else because your mom never allowed that when you were a child.
This has really been tough for each of you. Now that we have heard from each other's feelings, let us begin to talk about possible options that each party may feel more comfortable with. This is the topic list I have created based on what you have told me today. We want to find a way for the kids to spend time with Joanne. But we need to figure out if spending time alone with the kids is acceptable, how often, and when will be it acceptable.
Yes, I think those topics cover it.
Yeah, that works.
Great. Let's start with Hannah and the topic of Joanne spending time with the kids. Would you like to make some suggestions on how Joanne can spend time with your children?
She could take the kids alone during the day for a few hours once a month to places that my husband and I approve of. Maybe we can make a list of acceptable things you could do with them. And she could also come over on Wednesdays every other week for dinner.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. That is a great start and suggestion for a compromise. Joanne, what are your suggestions?
Well, although I do not fully understand the reasons behind not letting my grandchildren spend the night with me, I like what Hannah has said. It would make me feel included. I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you, John. Since it sounds like you both agree with Hannah's suggestions, what suggestions do you have for places Joanne can take the kids?
Maybe the park, the zoo, the ice cream shop, and the pizza place for now.
Joanne, what are your thoughts about what Hannah suggests?
I think that's definitely a good start, and I would like that. And I would like to add that I'll keep my opinions to myself about their parenting choices so I can be respectful.
Joanne and Hannah, do you feel that you were able to come together and build on your relationship as well for the children and for your son, Joanne, Hannah's husband?
I would really love that.
I think that we can certainly work on our relationship.
That's great. The stronger relationship you have, the better the atmosphere the entire family will have, and that is always beneficial. It is great to see parents involved in disputes come together so nicely.
Okay, it sounds like we have reached an agreement. I think that this is going to work well for all of you. This is what we have. Joanne can come over for dinner every other Wednesday, and once a month she can take the kids to either the park, the zoo, out for ice cream, or out for pizza. Both of you will work on your relationship with each other as well. If you would both sign the agreement, we will be done. Thank you for everyone's respectful participation today.
You're welcome. Thank you.